Hi, I'm Phil. I'm 66 years old and I live in a small, quiet village in Ohio. The kind of place where mornings start with birdsong and coffee, not traffic and rush. For most of my life, I thought I was doing all right. I walked every day. I didn't smoke. I ate what people called healthy snacks, mixed nuts, cashews, peanut butter instead of ice cream. I thought I was making good choices, but a few months ago, I noticed something was different. I wasn't waking up the same way I used to. You know what I mean. There was a quiet in my body that didn't feel natural, a kind of stillness. Not pain, not sickness, just absence. Like something that used to work quietly in the background had slowly shut down, and I hadn't noticed until it was already gone. I didn't want to admit it. Heck, I didn't even know who to talk to. Was it just age? Was it stress? Or was it something I was doing every single day without realizing it? That's when I found Dr. Mohit Khera. He wasn't selling a pill or shouting at a camera. He was calm, experienced, direct, and the way he spoke, it felt like he was talking right to me, like he understood what I couldn't even put into words. And then he said something I'll never forget. Your body isn't broken, it's just starving for what you stopped giving it long ago. That hit me like a thunderclap because it wasn't just about one thing. It was about years of tiny, invisible habits I thought were harmless, but were actually taking a silent toll. So today, I want to share what I learned from Dr. Khera, not as a doctor, not as a scientist, but as a man just like you. If you're in your 60s, 70s, maybe 80s, and you've noticed your energy dipping, your confidence fading, and your mornings feeling emptier than they used to, this video is for you. Because the truth is, it's not too late. Not even close. Let me walk you through the 5 common nuts that may be quietly sabotaging your manhood and the better choices that can help you take it back. And I promise, this won't be a boring lecture. It'll be a real conversation from one man to another, from one body that stopped whispering to yours, which might still be trying to get your attention. Let's start from the top. 1. Cashews, the sweet-tasting saboteur. Sometimes the thing that looks the cleanest leaves the deepest stain. I'll be honest with you. When I gave up chips and cookies a few years ago, I was proud of myself. I walked into the snack aisle and picked up a shiny bag of cashews, lightly salted, honey-roasted, labeled with words like heart-healthy, guilt-free, and natural goodness. They tasted smooth, buttery, almost elegant, if you know what I mean. I thought I'd made a smart switch. I even told my wife, see, no more junk food, just healthy fats now. I didn't know it at the time, but I was trading one kind of slow poison for another. Cashews, especially the kind that come in flashy packaging or are flavored with sweet coatings, are not as innocent as they seem. You see, most of the ones sitting on store shelves today aren't raw or clean. They've been roasted in cheap industrial oils like canola, soybean, or sunflower, and then dressed up with sugar or salt to keep you coming back for more. Dr. Khera explained it like this. It's not just about calories. It's about inflammation, deep, invisible inflammation that attacks your blood vessels from the inside out. That hit me hard because I had no idea that those little golden nuts could actually be hurting the very arteries that supply blood to my most vital organ. And here's the thing, the arteries in the penis, they're tiny, narrow, and they're often the first to suffer when inflammation kicks in. The oils in those cashews were coating my bloodstream day after day, bite after bite. And the sugar? Well, even just a small amount. That honey-glazed, cinnamon-dusted sweetness was spiking my insulin, encouraging belly fat, and choking my testosterone without me realizing. Dr. Khera told a story I'll never forget about a patient in his 70s who was doing everything right, exercising, eating clean, but still struggling in the bedroom. Turns out his evening treat was a handful of roasted sweetened cashews. Once he cut those out and swapped them for cleaner sources of fat, his energy and bedroom confidence started to return. Not overnight. But within a few weeks, things began to shift. That's when I understood. Even small things can quietly chip away at your vitality. So here's what I did. I went through my pantry. I pulled out every shiny bag, every sweet-flavored nut. I replaced them with a raw, organic, unroasted cashews. No salt, no oil, no sugar. And I only eat them occasionally now. Not because I'm scared, but because I'm awake. And trust me, there's a big difference between eating with pride and eating with awareness. Now, if you think cashews are sneaky, wait until you hear about the next one. It's even more common, found in almost every American kitchen, and believe it or not, it's not even a nut at all. Let's talk about peanuts and the hormonal havoc they can quietly cause. 2. Peanuts, the hormone impostor. Sometimes it's not the loud enemies that do the damage, it's the ones you've trusted for too long. If cashews were a surprise, then peanuts were a full-blown betrayal. I grew up with them, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in my lunchbox, peanuts at ball games, a spoonful of peanut butter before bed when I didn't feel like a full dinner. Comfort food. Familiar. American as it gets, right? But what I didn't know, and what most men still don't know, is that peanuts aren't even nuts. They're legumes, and they come with a whole different set of rules inside the body. Dr. Kara calls them the hormone imposters because they may look harmless, but they're masters at messing with the delicate hormonal balance that every man over 60 is already struggling to hold on to. Here's how it works. Peanuts are notorious for carrying aflatoxins, invisible molds that grow in warm, humid storage conditions. You can't smell them. You can't taste them. But once they're in your body, they put massive pressure on your liver, increase inflammation, and worst of all, tank your testosterone over time. One spoonful of peanut butter a day might not seem like much, but add it up over weeks, months, years, and you've got a slow drip hormone disaster. And it gets worse. Peanuts are packed with omega-6 fatty acids, which, when out of balance with omega-3s, like the kind you get from fish or flax, create a state of chronic inflammation in your bloodstream. That inflammation doesn't just make your joints ache, it damages the endothelial lining of your blood vessels, the very place where nitric oxide is produced. Nitric oxide is what allows your blood vessels to relax and expand. It's what makes strong, spontaneous erections even possible. So when that system gets inflamed and stiff, well, you probably already know how that story ends. Dr. Kara shared a case I'll never forget. A retired postmaster in his mid-60s came in, frustrated and confused. "Doc," he said, "I'm eating healthy. No soda, no cookies. Just my spoonful of peanut butter every night." His blood work told a different story. Low testosterone, high inflammatory markers, poor vascular function. Once he cut out the peanut butter and switched to better fats, his belly shrank, his energy improved, and his morning wake-up calls came back, if you catch my drift. But there's still one more twist to this peanut story. Phytoestrogens. That's right, peanuts contain plant-based compounds that mimic estrogen in the male body. And for a man whose testosterone is already dropping with age, this is the last thing you need. Too much estrogen throws your whole system off, leading to fatigue, mood swings, low libido, and that dull, empty feeling you can't quite explain. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying one peanut will break you, but if you're still eating peanut butter sandwiches every day, if your healthy snack mix is loaded with peanuts, it might be time to step back and ask, is this comfort or is this sabotage? For me, the answer was clear. I swapped peanut butter for almond butter, raw, no sugar, no additives. I checked my trail mixes and started making my own. And you know what? I started feeling clearer, more centered, less like a man fading, and more like a man returning. Now, if peanuts are an imposter, wait until you meet the next one. It wears a luxury label. It's sold in fancy gift tins, but when roasted the wrong way, it becomes a cholesterol-laced trap for the very arteries your erections depend on. Let's talk about macadamia nuts and why sometimes elegance comes with a hidden price. 3. Macadamia, the gourmet cholesterol trap. Not everything that looks premium is good for your body. Sometimes it's just well-dressed trouble. You know, there was a time I felt downright proud of my evening routine. After dinner, I'd sit in my old recliner by the window, pop open a shiny gold tin of macadamia nuts. You know the kind, smooth, buttery, almost luxurious, and treat myself to what I thought was the healthiest snack on earth. No chips, no ice cream, I told myself. Just good fat. But looking back now, that little ritual, it wasn't helping me. It was hurting me, slowly, silently, and with a smile. You see, macadamia nuts have a reputation. Elegant, heart-healthy, good for cholesterol. But here's what Dr. Kara helped me understand. It's not just the nut. It's how the nut was made and what it does once it's inside you. Most macadamias on the shelf aren't raw. They're roasted, often in massive batches with low-grade seed oils, like canola or soybean. Then they're dusted with salt to lock in flavor and shelf life. Sounds harmless, but when those oils are heated to high temps, they oxidize, breaking down into compounds that damage your blood vessels, especially the ones that matter most for blood flow. Down there. Let me paint you a picture. The penile artery, the one that supplies blood for an erection, is only about 1 to 2 millimeters wide. That's smaller than a drinking straw. It's one of the first places to get clogged when your blood vessels are inflamed or stiffened. Now imagine sending a stream of oxidized fats and salt through that tiny passage every single night. That's what I was doing, and I had no idea. Dr. Kara told me about a patient, 73 years old, who'd switched from cookies to macadamias because he read they were good for the heart. But he hadn't had a strong erection in months. When they looked closer, his blood pressure was rising, his nitric oxide was crashing, his bedroom confidence gone. Turns out it wasn't about the nut. It was about the oil, the salt, the heat, and how all of that created a perfect storm for shrinking his circulation and choking off his vitality. That hit home for me. Because I was that guy too, eating with good intentions, but bad information. So I made the switch. Raw nuts only. No salt, no oil, no heat. And guess what? My energy came back. Not just in the bedroom, but in the way I walked, stood, even looked at myself in the mirror. Because it's not just about what you put in your mouth. It's about what you believe is fueling you and what actually is. Now, if macadamia was the elegant trap, the next nut was the most dangerous of all. It's a so-called supernut. Packed with selenium, praised by health blogs, even recommended for boosting testosterone. But just a few too many, and you're not helping your hormones. You're poisoning them. Let's talk about Brazil nuts and the hidden cost of having just one more. 4. Brazil, the toxic supernut. Even good things can become poison if you don't know when to stop. There was a time I believed I had it all figured out. I was done with junk food. I had replaced the bad snacks. I'd even started reading up on nutrition blogs. That's when I came across Brazil nuts. Rich in selenium, they say. Funny. They said, great for testosterone. Why? They promised just a few a day to boost energy, support fertility, and help your thyroid. It sounded perfect, natural, masculine, powerful. So I bought a big bag, started eating 4 or 5 Brazil nuts every morning, like clockwork. And for a while, I thought it was working, until it wasn't. I started feeling off, tired in a way that sleep didn't fix, sluggish, foggy, like I was walking around with half the lights out in my head. At first, I blamed stress, then I blamed age. But one morning, I sat across from my doctor, describing all the strange symptoms, and he looked puzzled. That's when I reached out to Dr. Kara. He asked one simple question: are you eating Brazil nuts daily? I nodded, and I'll never forget what he said next. Phil, you're not fueling your body, you're flooding it. Here's the truth. Brazil nuts are powerful, but dangerously easy to overdo. Just weigh in one. Brazil nut can contain up to 90 micrograms of selenium. That's already 150% of your daily need. Eat a few more each day, and within a week, you're way past safe levels, and the body, it doesn't store selenium well, so the excess builds up fast, silently. The symptoms of a selenium toxicity are subtle at first. Fatigue, mood swings, irritability, brittle nails. But beneath the surface, it's doing more damage, messing with your testosterone, interfering with zinc and magnesium, and blunting your sexual response without you even knowing why. Dr. Kara shared the story of a retired engineer, same age as me, who thought Brazil nuts were his secret weapon. Instead, they became his silent undoing. His testosterone dropped, his sperm quality plummeted, his sex drive disappeared. When he stopped the nuts, his body slowly recalibrated, but it took months to regain balance. There's more. Too much selenium also puts wide stress on your thyroid. And as men over 60, that gland is already under pressure. Your thyroid controls metabolism, hormone regulation, and even your emotional resilience. And when it's overwhelmed by toxicity, everything starts to slow down. From your energy to your arousal to your connection with your partner. So what did I do? I stopped cold turkey. Gave the rest of that bag away. Now if I eat Brazil nuts at all, it's just once a week, if that. Because as Dr. Kara says, a powerful nutrient is like fire. It can warm you or burn you, depending on how you use it. I didn't need more testosterone in theory. I needed balance, precision, and respect for how my body actually works. Now, if you thought Brazil nuts were risky, the next nut isn't dangerous because of what it is, but because of what we've done to it. It's colorful, crunchy, loaded with flavor, sold at gas stations, grocery stores, even gift baskets. But inside those sweet and smoky coatings is a toxic blend of chemicals, sugar, salt, and oil that steal your manhood. One handful at a time. Let's talk about flavored mixed nuts and why they might be the worst offenders of all. 5. Flavored mixed nuts, the erection killers in disguise. Some enemies don't sneak in the back door. They come in bright colors and smile at you from the front shelf. I'll admit it, I used to love the snack aisle. Barbecue almonds, honey roasted peanuts, sweet and spicy trail mix with just a hint of maple. They looked fun. They smelled great, and they made me feel like I was choosing a healthier indulgence. At least it's not chips, I'd tell myself. It's protein, it's fiber, it's nuts. But here's what I didn't realize, and maybe you don't either. Those flavored mixed nuts. They're not just nuts anymore. They're lab-engineered bombs, designed to light up your taste buds and turn off your body's natural systems, one handful at a time. Dr. Kara says it best. The danger isn't in the nut, it's in what's been done to the nut. Let's break it down. Most flavored mixed nuts are roasted in seed oils, usually canola, corn, or soybean, the kind that are cheap, unstable, and highly inflammatory. Then they're coated with sugar, salt, and artificial flavors, like MSG or liquid smoke. And finally, they're preserved with wet chemicals like BHT or TBHQ, substances that weren't designed for your bloodstream, let alone your endocrine system. What does that cocktail do inside your body? It inflames your arteries, raises your blood pressure, reduces nitric oxide, the compound that lets blood flow freely into the penis, and disrupts your hormone production. At the source, I didn't know any of this, of course. I was just eating a small bowl each night while watching the news. My wife thought it was a smart snack, protein-rich, not fried. But slowly, my mornings got quieter. I had less interest in intimacy. And when I tried, my body just didn't respond. I thought something was broken inside me. Turns out it wasn't broken. It was being clogged, confused, and quietly shut down by ingredients I couldn't even pronounce. Dr. Kara once had a patient, 69 years old, former firefighter, who had switched from ice cream to trail mix. But the mix had honey-glazed cashews, cinnamon almonds, and barbecue peanuts, and was roasted in oil. He thought he was doing himself a favor, but when his blood work came back, his testosterone was tanking, his arteries were inflamed, and his body was waving a white flag. Once they removed the flavored snacks and replaced them with clean, raw nuts, his strength started returning, slowly, then all at once. That's when I realized something powerful. What you eat in silence affects how you live out loud. Now when I want a snack, I make my own trail mix. Raw almonds, walnuts, pistachios, maybe a few pumpkin seeds. No oil, no salt, no sugar. And guess what? I feel clear again. Light, even proud of what I'm putting into my body. Because as Dr. Kara says, food is either information that heals or instruction that harms. So, if you're still reaching for those flavored tins, those snack packs in the vending machine, thinking you're being good to your body, take a moment, flip it over, read the label. Ask yourself, is this food or is this chemistry? And now that we've covered what not to eat, let's talk about what to eat instead, because the right nuts, eaten the right way, can rebuild your blood flow, reignite your testosterone, and help you feel like yourself again. Let me show you the 3 that made all the difference for me. 6. What to eat instead. The 3 nuts that help heal. Healing doesn't always require a prescription. Sometimes it starts with a handful of the right things. After cutting out the bad nuts, the roasted, the sweetened, the flavored traps, I remember standing in the kitchen, looking down at an empty pantry shelf and thinking, okay, now what? I still wanted something crunchy, something real, but this time I wasn't looking for flavor or fun. I was looking for fuel, the kind that would help restore what I'd quietly lost over the years. That's when Dr. Kara stepped in again and gave me 3 names. Phil, he said, if you want to support blood flow, balance your hormones, and rebuild confidence, start here. Not all nuts are bad. Some are medicine in disguise. First, walnuts. The circulation booster. Walnuts are rich in L-arginine, an amino acid your body uses to produce nitric oxide, the compound that relaxes and opens your blood vessels, especially those that lead to your penis. More nitric oxide means better blood flow. Better blood flow means firmer, more responsive erections, without needing a little blue pill. They're also full of omega-3 fatty acids, which fight inflammation, the very kind that stiffens arteries and blocks circulation. I started eating a small handful each afternoon, raw, unsalted, no oil. And within a few weeks, I noticed something, not just physically, but mentally. I felt sharper, less foggy, more present with my wife. And yes, mornings began to return, just like the old days. Second, almonds, the hormone helper. Dr. Kara called these the testosterone-supporting powerhouse. And now I understand why. Almonds are loaded with vitamin E, which protects your blood vessels, magnesium, which supports testosterone production, zinc, a mineral your body needs to keep your libido and sperm health strong. They also help stabilize blood sugar, which is huge because high insulin levels can choke off your testosterone faster than you'd ever expect. But here's the key. They have to be raw, not roasted in honey, not dusted with cinnamon, just almonds, pure and simple. Now I eat 8 to 10 a day with my lunch, and every bite feels like a choice toward the man I want to keep being. Third, pistachios, the bedroom secret. Now this one surprised me. I always thought of pistachios as a bar snack, but it turns out they're one of the only nuts clinically studied for their effect on erectile function. One study found that men who ate pistachios daily for 3 weeks had firmer erections, improved cholesterol, higher satisfaction in intimacy. Why? Because pistachios are rich in arginine for nitric oxide, plant sterols that support blood flow, and antioxidants that protect vascular health. Plus, they're low in calories. So if you're watching your waistline like I am, they're a smart choice. Now I keep a jar of raw, shelled pistachios on the counter. They're my go-to when I want a little boost, without the crash. All three of these nuts have one thing in common. They're raw, unsalted, untouched by factories or flavor labs. They're what nature made them to be. And that's exactly what your body is craving. Dr. Kara said something that stuck with me. Your body is always trying to heal. You just have to stop feeding it confusion and start giving it clarity. And that's what I found in these three: clarity. It wasn't about being perfect. It was about being intentional, choosing food that serves the man I want to be in this season of life. But here's the truth. Even with the right food, healing takes more than just what's on your plate. There's another piece to this puzzle, one most men ignore, and it's something that can either supercharge your recovery or quietly sabotage it. Let's talk about your lifestyle and how stress, sleep, and movement play a role in restoring the man inside. 7. More than food, the lifestyle equation. You can eat all the right things, but if your habits are working against you, it's like pouring clean water into a leaky bucket. When I first started changing what I ate, removing the harmful nuts, adding the healing ones, I saw improvements, no doubt about it. But there was still something missing. Some days I had energy. Other days I was back in a fog. Some nights I felt confident. Other nights I felt like a stranger in my own skin. So I went back to Dr. Kara. I said, "Doc, I'm eating better, but I still don't feel like me." He smiled gently and said something I'll never forget. "Phil, food is just one spoke in the wheel. If the rest of the wheel is broken, the ride's still going to be rough." That's when he started talking to me about the 3 pillars most older men ignore and how they're just as important for erections, energy, and confidence as what's on your plate. Pillar 1. Sleep, your nighttime hormone factory. When you sleep, I mean deep, uninterrupted, restful sleep, your body produces most of its testosterone for the next day. But if you're waking up every hour, if you're glued to your phone until midnight, if you snore or have sleep apnea, that testosterone never gets made. Dr. Kara said, a man who sleeps less than 6 hours a night loses 15 to 20% of his testosterone and doesn't even know it. So I started turning off screens an hour before bed. I darkened my room. I even got tested for sleep apnea. And sure enough, after a few weeks of better rest, I felt stronger in the morning, in every sense of the word. Pillar 2. Stress, the silent testosterone thief. Now this one hit me hard. I always thought I handled stress well. I didn't yell. I didn't throw things. I kept things bottled up, like a good man does. But what I didn't realize is that chronic stress raises cortisol, and cortisol shuts down testosterone. It also tightens your blood vessels, messes with your insulin, and makes it harder to feel relaxed, especially in the moments that matter. Dr. Kara told me about a patient who was doing everything right: diet, sleep, supplements, but he couldn't manage his stress. The result? High blood pressure, zero libido, a body in survival mode. I started small: 10 minutes of breathing in the morning, a walk by the lake after dinner. And the biggest one? Talking more, letting things out instead of pushing them down. It made a bigger difference than I ever expected. Pillar 3. Movement, not just for your muscles. Look, I'm not running marathons here. I'm 66, but Dr. Kara reminded me that erections are about circulation, and circulation requires movement. Walking, lightweight training, even yoga or Tai Chi. He told me, the more you move, the more blood you build, and blood is what brings your body and your manhood to life. So I started with 20 minutes a day, nothing fancy, just motion. And you know what? I felt more grounded, more alive, more like myself again. These 3 pillars, sleep, stress, and movement. They may not sound exciting, but for men like us, they're the foundation, because your body isn't just a machine, it's a system, one where everything affects everything. Food starts the healing, but habits carry it forward. Now, if you've been eating right, sleeping better, managing stress, and moving more, there's one last piece you need to understand. It's the question every man over 60 eventually asks himself. Can I undo the damage I've already done? Let's talk about that next, and what it really means to reclaim your strength, no matter your age. 8. Undoing the damage. Is it too late? The body is a quiet fighter. Sometimes all it needs is for you to stop hurting it and start listening. I remember sitting on my back porch one morning, coffee in hand, sun just starting to rise over the treetops, and asking myself a question I hadn't said out loud yet. Is it too late? Too late to fix what I broke? Too late to feel like a man again? Too late for mornings with energy? Nights with connection? It's a question many of us ask, especially after 60, when the body slows, when confidence fades, when intimacy becomes a memory. So I asked Dr. Kara, and here's what he told me, without hesitation. It's never too late, not if you're still breathing. The body wants to recover, but first you have to stop fighting against it. That line changed everything for me, because the truth is, I had been fighting against it. With every flavored snack, every night of poor sleep, every angry thought I kept bottled inside. But the body, it remembers how to heal. And when you stop feeding it confusion and start feeding it clarity, it responds. Healing doesn't mean perfection. It means direction. I didn't go from flat to fired up overnight, but within 2 weeks, I had more energy. Within 4 weeks, I noticed better blood flow, and by week 6, I felt like I'd stepped into the version of myself I thought was gone forever. It wasn't magic. It was biology working with me instead of against me. Dr. Kara says, the penis is often the first place dysfunction shows up, and the first place to recover when you remove the blocks. That's exactly what happened. I stopped the sweetened cashews, cut out the roasted macadamias, dropped the daily peanut butter, and I rebuilt my routine with intentional foods, restful sleep, movement, and self-respect. And guess what? I stopped feeling old, not because I turned back the clock, but because I stopped dragging the past forward with me every day. The body heals, but so does the mind. You know, for a long time, I thought the real loss wasn't physical, it was emotional. That sense of confidence, the feeling of being in your skin, not just in your body, the look in your partner's eyes when they see you not just as a man they love, but as a man who's still here. And when I started feeling that again, not from pills, not from gimmicks, but from simple, steady choices, it felt like coming home. So, is it too late? No, not if you're willing to stop looking back in regret and start moving forward with intention. Because now we've talked about what to remove, what to replace, and how to rebuild. But there's one final piece we haven't touched yet, a truth that most men ignore, a silent habit that millions carry. And it may be the reason you're still stuck, even if you're doing everything else right. And in the next section, I'll tell you exactly what that is and how to stop it before it's too late. 9. The final hidden habit that keeps you stuck. Sometimes it's not what you eat, not what you do. It's what you tell yourself in the quiet that keeps you from healing. There's something I haven't mentioned yet, not because I forgot, but because it's the hardest part to talk about. It's not a nut. It's not a hormone. It's not something your doctor can measure on a lab test. It's the bad narrative you carry inside. That quiet voice that says, maybe this is just how it is now. Maybe I'm too old for this. Maybe this part of life is supposed to be over. I know that voice well because I listened to it for years. After I turned 60, I started letting little things slide, skipped workouts, stopped initiating with my wife, avoided mirrors, not because I didn't care, but because a part of me had quietly accepted a story. You've had your time. Now just fade with dignity. Dr. Kara called it learned helplessness. Most men don't give up because their bodies fail. They give up because their minds convince them it's already too late. That hit me harder than any blood test ever could, because he was right. I wasn't broken. I was discouraged, and I needed to change more than my diet or my sleep. I needed to rewrite the story. I'd been living in, so I started saying different things. Instead of I'm too old, I said, I'm still here. Instead of, I missed my chance, I said, today is a new one. Instead of, my best days are behind me, I whispered, what if they're not? And you know what? My body began to respond, not just to food or habits, but to hope. The body hears what the mind believes. Every decision I made, to eat raw walnuts, to walk after dinner, to go to bed earlier, they were small acts of belief. Belief that I was still worth the effort. Belief that this chapter of life still mattered. Belief that intimacy doesn't expire, it evolves. And as I leaned into that belief, something beautiful happened. My mornings came back. My confidence returned. My relationship deepened, not just physically, but emotionally. So if you're sitting there, watching this, thinking, I've already done too much damage. I'm not the man I used to be. I don't know if I can get back there. Let me tell you what I wish someone told me. You don't need to go back. You just need to go forward with grace, clarity, and purpose. Because healing isn't about chasing your younger self. It's about stepping into a version of you that's stronger in the ways that truly matter. Now, we're almost at the end. But before I leave you with the final thoughts, I want to give you something simple, something practical to start tomorrow morning. Let's talk about the gentle rhythm I follow each day to protect my health, restore my vitality, and stay grounded in the man I've become. The gentle guide how to start this rhythm tomorrow morning. You don't have to change your whole life overnight. Just change how you begin the next morning. When I started this journey, cutting the wrong foods, learning new habits, listening to my body, I thought it would be hard, complicated, maybe even overwhelming. But Dr. Kara reminded me, Phil, real change doesn't happen in one leap. It happens in quiet rhythms, repeated with purpose. So I built one, a morning rhythm that didn't require willpower, just intention. And I want to share it with you now, not as a checklist, but as a companion, something you can try tomorrow morning and again the next day. Step 1. Wake up without judgment. When you open your eyes, don't reach for your phone. Don't scroll the news. Don't scan for problems. Instead, sit up slowly. Place your feet on the ground. Take a deep breath and whisper to yourself, this morning is a gift, and I still have time to honor it. Step 2. Feed your body with clarity. Skip the toast, forget the sugary cereal. Instead, reach for what heals. A small handful of raw walnuts, 8 to 10 almonds, a few pistachios, a glass of water with lemon. This isn't just food, it's information, instructions for your hormones, your blood flow, your confidence. Dr. Kara says, every bite you take is either helping you show up or shutting you down. Step 3. Move with gentle intention. Take a short walk, stretch, breathe deeply with your arms lifted toward the sky, not to burn calories, but to activate blood flow. Remember, your body isn't retired, it's waiting to be remembered. Step 4. Say one true thing. Before your day gets noisy, speak one truth aloud. It can be simple. I am still strong. My body is capable of healing. I am a man worth investing in. The body hears what the mind believes, so give it something real to believe in. And that's it. That's the rhythm I began with. And you know what? That rhythm changed my life. Not just in the bedroom, not just in the lab results, but in how I feel when I walk past a mirror, in how I show up in conversations, in how my wife looks at me again, not with sympathy, but with spark. Now it's your turn, not to do everything, not to be perfect, just to begin. So tomorrow morning, I hope you take a deep breath. Choose one good nut over one bad one. Go for that walk. Say that truth. And believe, even for just one moment, that you are not done. Because you're not. Your best years aren't behind you. They're waiting in the choices you make today. Dr. Mohit Kara. If this video gave you something to think about, something to try, or something to feel? Let me know in the comments. Type, "I'm starting," if you're ready to begin, or type, "Not too late," if you just needed the reminder today. And if you know a man, a friend, a brother, a father, who needs to hear this, share it with him. You never know what one quiet video can awaken in someone's life. Thanks for walking this journey with me. Stay strong, stay sharp, and never stop choosing yourself. Phil 66 still standing tall in a small town in Ohio.